Okay, so welcome back to the podcast. So right now we have a very special guest with us right now. This is one of my really good friends from high school. I met him his senior year. It was my junior year. Trust me, guys, I didn't learn shit in that class, but me and him,
We
we had
didn't.
some fucking nice ass times, some fun times in there playing, golf in there, baseball, Google
Yeah, we
Translate.
don't mess up. We don't mess around in that class, man. You
Keep
know
in
how it is in
mind,
high school.
keep in mind it was an AP class too, so we kind of had to take it
Yeah,
serious. My homie over here is talking about Colombia and Colombian coffee. I remember
we
that
were talking about all
presentation.
kinds of stuff.
Remember the
Yeah, man.
presentation, bro? That was crazy. You went into Colombia like that.
Oh man, dude,
uh,
I don't even the half this. I don't even remember 5% of what we talked about there. All I remember was popping popcorn.
oh,
And
that's
that
true.
freaking that's it, man. But as far as material, but everything else we would mess around.
Yeah,
Fun
yeah.
times, bro. Fun times, good.
Yeah, but what's it called? Yeah. So this is one of my friends, guys. His name is Eduardo Ortiz. What's it called? Like I said, I met him in high school and stuff. You want to give a brief introduction to yourself, bro?
Well, it was good. I mean, yeah, as I've been knowing Zeke for a while right there. Uh, for about 20 years, I was most of my life lived in the LA area right there, as you can see, proudly repping Laker gear.
Let's go, man.
Um, Now living in Vegas, just enjoying enjoying this new the new beginning since 2016 over here. Can't complain. It honestly, the moving over here was was a great move, and and I'm happy to enjoy my time over here. Especially enjoying. I mean, I'm personally a sports addict right there. Um, and so you have the sports and as everybody knows, the gambling world over here mix mix those two together, and I love that part of that
Yeah, man.
aspect of Vegas here, man.
You got the advantage to
um
that, man. So
yeah, yeah, it's legal over here. We'll dive a little bit into we'll talk a little bit how all this world of sports betting is booming, and how it's
more and more
becoming a
popular.
thing
Yeah,
more popular across the states. But yeah, for now, who knows when Cali will hop on that train? I know.
they're lagging,
Uh,
man, so bad. Like it's really bad. You just have to find other people, bookies, got to do it
yeah,
online and stuff. So
and it's a
you're
struggle.
yeah, you're over there chilling, man. You can
It's
literally take a quick drive down to the strip and then make
I
your bet and then pick up your money, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
suave, over there. But what's it called? So we're gonna go ahead and get started, guys. What's it called? I had Eddie come on because he's like he said, he does a lot of the sports betting. He dives deep into it, so he's more of like your expert into that kind of stuff, so he's gonna give us a quick rundown of like what it is, because this is a sports and finance channel, so it kind of blends both in because you're dealing with money and you're dealing with sports. So take it away, Eddie. How did you get into it, and how's it been for you? Been making those big bucks?
I'm gonna tell it like it is. It's hard to sometimes it's hard to even break even right there. At
Yeah,
times, you just gotta tell it like it is. But most of the time, um, well, before I go dive into the nitty gritty of like how I started, well, like um, um uh, it, once I found out, I didn't find out about sports betting right away. It was mostly by where I was working in the dental office I was working at. I was the patients that I was seeing. As you're chopping it up with the patients, they're telling you. Some open up a little bit more, and they're like, oh, what they're up to, and
yeah,
they a couple guys, a lot of guys were now that I mention it's a lot similar to how I'm learning about all this cryptocurrency. Um, a lot of people were into the sports betting. Like I'm seeing,
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
we're doing like, hey, do you have I have the TVs on. They're like, can you put on this game? I have money on this game and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, money on this game. All right, this
yeah,
wow, And they're like, oh, and by small talk right there, and the patients would tell me how it kind of works,
yeah,
how what they knew about it. And from then on, that's when I actually walked. Later on, I'd walk into a sports book and actually one of the attendants at the counter kind of explained to me a little bit of what I wanted to do at that time was soccer, and that's how I started. I started when my first, my first best would be soccer and basketball, and and then after that, I just loved the fact that I could, like I said, I could enjoy, I could watch a game, and at the same time see if I could make a profit out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the time, it's a complete newbie, complete noob but not thankfully I was not betting anything crazy or anything that I could not
Afford and
afford
stuff,
to
huh?
lose. And to this day, I don't do that. But it was small bucks, right? Kind of to test the waters right there.
Yeah, get your feet wet,
Um,
huh?
get your feet wet, and one of the first things that everyone, same thing, so kind of like with what you could time with the cryptocurrency. This is not a thing where you're I don't this is not something where you could be don't really expect to get rich from one day to the next. If
Yeah,
you really
exactly.
like for unless you're putting some make you get super lucky and make this huge, what a lot of people, the majority of people go for is parlays,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
quickly shied away from
They're so
because it
hard,
was
bro.
they are so hard. People, they look at the board and they pick 7 games, 5, 6, 7 games, up to 12 games, and they throw 5, 10, $20 on it, and they throw like you're every day throwing Hail Marys.
Yeah,
And
man.
I'm not gonna lie, I started off with 5, 10, $15 parlays, and I would hate that I would hit 3 out of 5, um 2 out of 3, and I'm like, okay, well, if I were to, and then it came to the conclusion by myself, kind of, that if I would have split these games individually, I would have probably come out of profit
Yeah, you would have
because I'm
made
not that
way more
far.
money.
Yeah, the logic is there, the insight is there, and I probably would, And solo, I quickly, I did my due diligence, honestly, because we're just like with anything you invest your money on, you got to do your due diligence.
Yeah, you do
You
research, man.
you got to do your research. If you're using it for entertainment purposes, then do whatever you want.
Yeah,
If it's for
exactly.
entertainment, do whatever you want. I actually wanted to see and try my best to make a profit out of it.
Yeah.
There've been time. There's been because it's kind of just like for the stock market. You
Yeah, it
ride
goes up
it,
and
and then
down, man.
it goes up and down, and that's one of the things that I could I'll talk a little bit about why it's nice when it's nice when you're on the run,
Yeah.
but you have to have the patience, the discipline to take the losses. And
Yeah.
that's to this day, for the over the five for a good 4 years, solid 4 years that I've been doing this, that's the main thing, which I'll talk about a little bit more, how if you really, those that want to say you could really make a profit of it, you got to have a lot of discipline. There's a lot of different kind of um, things I could compare it with in life.
Yeah.
Um, it's like if you want to lose, say for example, you want to lose weight, you eat good, you have you buy into a routine, a strict regimen.
Yeah, exactly.
um, you might even have a personal trainer, but what you actually do um, on your own, as far as your discipline, if you're not eating what you're supposed to be eating, if you're not actually working out using the equipment that you have available, it does no point.
Yeah,
You're
exactly. Yeah.
it's so same thing
With your sports betting.
with you at the sports betting. It's something where if you really want to make a profit, sure, I have the luxury where I could get great I have the luxury where I could shop for what we call lines. The lines is the price you pay to make all the lines, all the numbers that you see, the minus and plus on the game right there. All it is minus, meaning how much. Minus is how much you would have to pay to make $100, and the plus is how much you would make if you bet $100 flat. So I have the luxury of getting a better line, shopping for a better value, and then I have the availability of the knowledge, the information, the statistics. But what I actually do with it with my discipline as far as how much I'm putting in for a game
Hmm.
in a certain period of time. That will determine if I burn right away or if I live to ride the wave of the ups and downs.
Yeah, man, I
Um,
feel you. I feel you. It's like
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people what they don't understand with like when it comes to stuff like that is like you said, it's not gonna be a quick profit, where like you're gonna be a millionaire the next day. You have to like really be like, hey, if I'm willing to lose like let's say these $10, it might make 20, I might lose them, so you just have to be prepared to like make the loss if you do lose, because you can't predict the future. What if you put like the Lakers were gonna win by 3 points, and they lose by two? It sucks, but you have to deal with the fact that hey, you lost, you knew the risk, and you knew the consequences. But I feel you, man. I dabbled into it with with a little bit with you. You explained it to me. You get a euphoric, after like you win a bet. You're like, man, I just made 10 to 50 bucks, going in for like $5. But then you have those times where like, man, I needed one rebound from this guy, or 1 point, or one goal from here, and then I could have made so much money. And you were kind of dabbling into like the parlay kind of thing. You want to quickly like explain what that is, for our viewers, just in case they don't know what that is? Because most people will understand like, hey, you can just put down like straight up this team will win, but like you said there was different bets and you put a parlay and like
yep,
3 out of 4
yep.
for 4 out of 5. You want to explain that real quick to people who don't understand?
Gotcha. So yes, those parlays are those. It's those big hits. Those and they could go. You need two picks on
Hmm.
a ticket minimum for a parlay.
Yeah.
Both both have to hit. Um, and that's that. The more picks you add onto that ticket,
Yeah.
the bigger the payout, but the higher the risk of it
Mm,
not winning, because all it takes is one of those to kill your ticket. Um, and that is a very common thing that people, and I guess you could say, coming from LA, where you have the lottery and the scratchers and all that
yeah.
stuff, and then you have the opportunity where you could, with those same 5, $10, $20, you put a couple games on there to the best of your knowledge. I guess, yeah, I'd pick the parlay rather than the, but but really, like, in realistic, it's really hard to hit one
Yeah.
of those. It's
Yeah.
it's really hard because anything could happen.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. Nothing is a lock. Nothing is
Yeah.
a for sure. But yes, you do have people that they put 7 picks on their ticket, and it does not have to be from the same sport. It could be soccer combined with football, combined
Mm,
with baseball, combined, and that's actually, if I had to, this is my take on parlays. I would I use them as more like a to work out, well, for fun, but to work
yeah.
out kind of my brain. What would have I done? You throw some a little bit on a couple picks, and I'd recommend to put it in different sports. Unless you're really really zoned in on a certain sport, and then you pick, you make your picks right there on the ticket with that.
Yeah.
Go for it. But like I said, it's really hard to actually make a profit off parlays.
Yeah.
You could make, and it's true. You could put a $5 ticket and you make $150, uh, $250, whatever, depending on the odds. Those odds that you pick, whether a favorite or an underdog,
Hmm.
depending on which one you have, determine how much to pay out as well. You might get a good payout one day, and then you might lose it all
Yeah. Because you
doing
like you.
trying to make it again, trying to get that again. You might make a $10 parlay. You like the payout so much, you might make a $15 parlay, and then before you know it, you just smoked those $100, and you're back almost where you started. um but chances are, if they what I tell people is, chances are, if you were to flat bet, just flat put the same amount, or divide your money on all your picks individually, chances are you could you could really, you boost your chances of turning a profit right there. But like I said, again, I would see it more as an entertainment purposes. It's great. It's a great adrenaline when you're down to that last
Yeah,
game,
man. I
and
bet.
and you're waiting for that last game, and you get
Yeah.
a nice payout. It's a good it's fun. They're fun, but I would not suggest for it to be as a profit right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kudos
Like,
to anybody who hits the for those who hit it. Kudos to those people that when they hit.
hey,
Awesome,
man.
great.
Yeah, man. They know what they're doing at some point, but I feel like sometimes it just comes down to luck, man. Because I've been seeing some of those parlays online on Instagram and stuff. I'm like, man, you really bet that? Like, you would have never thought that, because some sports, man, they're just unpredictable. Like I watch a lot of baseball, and like you might be thinking, oh, my team's on a 3 game winning streak, and all of a sudden, like, game 4 of that series, they put all the crap players in, and then they just lose 3-2 because they already won the series 3-1. And you're like, man, I should have just gone for someone else. So it's always the unpredictable that always tends to screw you, because like you said, it only takes one game.
Yeah,
So well, one bet, it could be like for $5, and if you would have done it individually, you would have taken, let's say a 10 bet parlay, you would have taken 9 wins and then one loss, but you would have had the
yeah.
9 wins. In a parlay, you would have lost everything.
Or it would have lessened your loss for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, look at for anyone started at the beginning of the season. For example, you mentioned baseball. Look at the Dodgers.
yeah. They started off hot, and then they got into a losing streak,
What
man, like really
what
bad.
what it what is their record right there? I can't imagine how many people have been trying to, fit in the Dodgers because they're like, oh well, they have to win this one. Oh well,
Yeah,
they have to.
yeah.
Well, no. It's a lot harder than what
Oh yeah,
it's a lot
dude.
harder than what it is. But I really I enjoy this. Like I said, to each their kind of to each their own. As far as as far as spending, like I said, my thing is, I guess my my thing is this right there. Um, with the sportsman, like I just get, I love the adrenaline that
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
get, that extra adrenaline that I get. And yeah, it does require, like I said, it does require it's time. It's you got to do your homework. You got
Yeah,
to be
man,
kind of
for
like with the
sure.
stock market. You got kind of with the stock market. You're
Yeah,
literally, it's
same
almost
thing.
like it's practically like the stock market. You're looking at the line. Those lines that I'm talking about, they move hour by hour,
Hmm.
up or down, and it's what to when you hop on it or you see that movement, and you'll determine, maybe I should wait. Maybe I should buy now.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it requires, and it's something where I would look late into the night. Late into the night, take a look early in the morning, see how those line move, and it'll kind of determine. It'll help me determine as where what lay I would what way I would lean to with a certain pick. Same thing with the stock market. Just today, we're on this day that we're recording. Uh, um, the stock market overall was with the cryptocurrency, or isn't it going? There's like it's on a kind of a downhold swing today, right?
Yeah, what's it called? So we're recording this, guys, on the 19th of May. So it's a Wednesday. And as like, because this goes up on Monday, so a few days from now. But like, yeah, man, it just plummeted because, like you said, it's pretty much the same thing with sports betting. Like any kind of news can either dip or rise the market. Like if you're putting a game against the Lakers, and let's say everybody's healthy, everybody's playing, and then last minute LeBron is out, the odds don't stay the same. They either go up or down. Most
It
likely,
fluctuates.
yeah, same thing with the stock market. As of this recording, China just blew up cryptocurrency because they're not accepting any kind of crypto anymore. So that plummeted the market. Everybody went
Hmm.
down super negative, and even besides
Hmm.
the crypto, regular stocks, Tesla's down. I think the Dow and everything like that, they're all down. So it just takes one simple kind of like piece of news. Elon Musk a few days ago, he said that Bitcoin, they're not going to be accepting Bitcoin. That made that plummet. One tweet.
Hmm.
So it's pretty much the
Yeah.
same thing. At roller coasters, it might be
it,
up, it
it-
might be
it's
down.
and the reason is because we have our earned money and such things. We have to monitor. It's
Yeah,
something we have
man.
to monitor. That's why it's like with with sports betting. Unless you see it under entertainment, cool. Do as you wish. As you
Yeah,
want to see it as a profit, um,
really do your
you have
research, guys.
you gotta do your research. And again, it's how for those elite few percent that could actually make a living off this, I mean, they have a really strict discipline. We all we all have, you and me could have the access to the information, winning information.
Hmm.
We could have access. Like I said, I had the access where I could get a better line, a better value
Yeah,
of a pick. Um, but all of that means nothing if I don't bet accordingly, or if you don't control what if you play more than what you could afford to lose and all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
because there's those ups and downs. And how do you say, for say, just put it, for example, say if you start off with $1,000,
Hmm.
um or break your bets into percentages, like um you have to, when you do your research, and especially if it's easier to know when if you're an average, a sports fan right there, you could tell which game is more like you in your, by gut feeling and by the statistics in front of you, you see which game is more likely to hit.
Yeah,
That determines what percentage of your bankroll you will bet in. So for example, um, if there's a game that is much that's more clearer, there's certain things that have to check off. You have to have kind of like I have a certain thing. I guess it's not written in stone, but I have it in my mind where I check off what will determine the size of my play.
yeah,
Key players that are out, check. If a team is not full, if they're not fully rested, back to back, on a bounce back, on a bounce back, they lost, and on a bad loss, and they need to get and an embarrassing loss,
yeah.
chances are they're gonna come back
Gonna
and
come out
and
strong. Yeah,
perform. So, and checking off these things, okay, and it determines what kind of a percentage of a bet what I do. Be anything where by 10 to 5%. Say for example, like going to a $10,000 bankroll, you bet 10% play, 10 bucks, or of a higher end, would it be 5%, $50 right there, keeping it within that range right there, so that way you could ride the highs and ride the lows.
yeah.
Because if you right off the bat you fire off $500 in one day,
You just lose it all. That's already half of your
you
money,
could
man.
you could burn yourself in less than 2 days, or even a whole day if
Even a whole
if
day,
you're
yeah, yeah. If you're not,
yeah.
if you're not, you don't have the discipline. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna bet the Lakers gonna win today by this many points, and then they're off by like one or two. That's the worst, man. When you're probably off by like one, or you're over one or something like that. So, what's it called? That
Yep.
you want to explain real quick like not explain, but just give us like your stats. What was the one bet like that really got you like pumped up to where like, and I can actually start doing this more and more, like that big one where
Mm.
like, hey, I made a cool
Well,
$100, $200, whatever.
it's cool because I just got the reason we remember, as sports players, we remember our losses, but we also remember our we remember our key, those really, those pumped up ones. The one that I would say it started where I jumped out on, where I
Yeah,
stepped out and I said, I need I need to take advantage of my knowledge of what I feel should happen.
yeah.
And it was in the World Cup, this past World Cup.
Mm,
And and it helped that one of the first sports that I started dabbling with was soccer.
yeah.
Um, so I was already testing the waters well with that. And it was a World Cup, and I remember it was a Belgium versus Panama.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that game.
Guess so in the soccer, for those who know, in a soccer game you could bet, so you could Belgium is a much stronger, more, it was obvious favorite to win the game against Panama. And there's and when what I chose to bet on, was that Belgium was going to beat Panama by more than 2 goals, and that the game, and hence, since I'm envisioning Belgium to beat Panama by more than 2 goals, I expect there to be more than 3 goals, or two. Actually, it was 2.5, I believe, two and a half,
Yeah,
or three right there. So it was like, I have to take advantage of this game. I have to exploit this game and take advantage of this game. So what I remember, I put, I believe, 250 on Belgium to beat Panama by more than 2,
Yeah.
and about 200 on the total, more than 2 goals right there. And sure enough, it hit. I
Yeah.
was super stoked. I woke up early in the morning to watch that game because you know how those work on the what was it in it was in
The
Russia.
2018, yeah, it was in Russia, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Russia, so you know those times right
Correct.
there. I woke up early.
Crazy,
It was right
crazy early,
before
man.
I woke up at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. The game ended at 8, and I had to clock in for work at 8:45.
Oh, no, hombre.
And that right there, that, and then I dabbled a little bit. I dabbled a little bit with other games right there in the competition. But that right there, I will never forget it. Those were, I even took pictures of it. These were my first ones, and ever since then, I'm like, okay,
You're kind of
I
hooked
think
on it a little bit, huh?
yeah, I think I can do this right.
Yeah.
And how do you say, I like, as an avid sports fan, I could watch hockey with the Golden Knights being here. You know, we all got into hockey over here. I could watch baseball, basketball, soccer, football, all level, college and pro. But
Yeah.
when it comes to sports betting, I would recommend stick to something you really stick to, a sport that you really know or that you
Yeah.
really watch a lot. That way
Yeah.
because it's, you could see all the statistics in the world, you could have all the winning information, but you also need the eye test. The eye test, that right there, you know, there's nothing like the eye test right there. So if it's something that you like I said, I would recommend a couple sports right there that you really dive into as far as watching. I would recommend, you know, kind of starting off like that.
Yeah.
And for example, me and Zeke were in soccer, and as far as the Mexican League, we're America fans.
Hell yeah, man. 100%. He's
That is
representing in the
my,
back right there.
yeah, as you can see right there. We that in the Mexican League, America's practically the only team I bet in that league. Not only because I don't see it as a fan. Well, yes, I'm a fan, but the reason is because I watch their games. Therefore, I take advantage of what I'm seeing. The opponents they play. I watch games on who they're gonna play up against a week before. And I watch. I especially pay close attention to, you know, the rivals we're gonna have up against. But and that's how I determine. I think we're in for a bad spot. I think we're in for a good spot. And
Yeah.
therefore I make, or sometimes I just say I stay away. And sometimes, you know, for so that's something like, if you have if your team is you have a couple teams that you follow a lot right there that you're able to watch in a certain sport, and you're able to pick up on a certain patterns, is that's what it is in sports. You pick up on patterns as well. So
That
and you
probably be
jump.
your biggest advice, huh? Is probably go for something that you know. You know, if you watch strictly basketball, just go for basketball. You know, if you
Yeah,
strictly
don't try
know,
to,
don't go to
don't
dabble
like it.
everything. You know.
Yeah, like I said, it's your hard-earned money, and on none. it's none of us. There's a few of us who make a fortune over here to not have, how do you say, how do, or what I'm trying to say is, like, because it's a hard earned money, we don't want to be stupid with it.
Yeah, you just
And there's
want
a
to
lot
go.
of people.
You don't want to give it to Vegas, man. Just throw it down the
Yeah,
trash. You know.
there's a lot of, and like I said, I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to break even. It's hard. It's hard because you sometimes you rely on those. You go on a 3 in a row. You're in cloud nine, or you. But
Yeah.
that's why you have to have a cool head and not be too cocky, because sometimes you might say, you know, you're riding that wave, and then all of a sudden you go on a loss, and you say,
Yeah.
well, let's go at it again. You lose again. And then that's when you start to do things that you aren't supposed to do. You go beyond that your percentage of what you should bet,
Yeah.
and you double down, and you lose again. And where are you? You're back at zero.
You're back
So
at
that
zero.
it's really
Yeah.
hard. You know, I'm kind of the people where I reach a certain amount. I'd say once I reach a certain amount of cash in my account, I withdraw it and kind of leave almost practically what I started with.
Oh, okay. Okay.
so that way I try to my lesson that's why I haven't really reached like a big, a big amount. Why? Because if that money sits there in, because I use an app right there where I could make my wagers. If I let that sit on the app for too long, chances are it's going to go away because
Yeah.
of the reason. So once I have an amount where I said I'm comfortable with taking out this amount and taking out that, it'll secure that at least whatever happens, I don't lose. I don't
Yeah.
lose, or I don't lose too much.
So you pretty much take out what you made in pretty much profits, and you just leave your initial investment in there. So if you start with $100 and you're at 300, you'll mostly just leave the 100, take out the 200. So if you lose it, you just
And
lose
run it
your.
again.
Yep.
Yeah. And
All
just
right,
run it
man.
again
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah,
that.
man. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. What's it called? But hey, man. Any last words for the people? Any advice you want to give them before I let you go, man? Because I know
Oh
you're a
yeah, the
busy
game's
man. Yeah, the
yeah.
game's about to
Oh,
start.
and then the game's about to start right
Ma-
there. But
yeah,
no,
we're
I mean this is a very, how do you say, it's a, I just kind of general look into the sports betting right there. Once one There's more intricate nitty gritty details in this, in all this, where whether in another part, in another podcast or whatever, another chance, or you could talk more, like dive into more specifics as far as with specific sports and stuff like that, or how to read lines or whatever, line movement, just like how you read stocks and stuff like that. But it in general, this it's great. It'd be great to say that you could make you know if it was easy, everyone would be super rich doing this
Oh yeah, man. Everybody
sports
would do
betting.
it.
And it's not, it requires time. And I honestly, I go through periods of time where, like, with school and stuff, I can't I can't put the same amount of time that I would, because I had to focus on my schoolwork. And because, like I said, I'm constantly having to see where, if players are out, line movement, last minute changes, that requires time, and a lot of time, invested time, and invested effort. And sometimes I don't have that invested time and
Yeah.
invested effort, so I just don't play. Like, there'll
Yeah.
be time I just don't play, and I'm cool with that. Luckily, it's not as I'm not in the situation where I'm a consistent bettor, but I could go 2 months if I have to, if I don't,
Oh, okay.
without betting, no problem,
Yeah, that
because
discipline.
I could always, and then I have I could hop on it back. I'm always, well, I'm not, how do you say, even though I might be out of the loop for a bit, when I hop in back, I'm not completely unaware of what's going on, because as you know, I'm always still watching sports when I can, keeping up with scores, keeping up with
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
details, but not as in depth you know. But that's, but I love, because I love sports.
Hell yeah, man.
I love it. I love the Lakers. As far as today, I did not bet it myself. I want to enjoy it as a fan.
I was
Hopefully
literally
we
gonna
win.
I was literally gonna ask you, I was like, how much you got on the game today, man? Because
No,
right
because
now.
no, because real quick, because it opened up at Lakers as a 7-point favorite. It went down as low as a 4.5-point
Wow.
favorite. I did not. I did that move. I didn't. And then this morning, today, it went back up to 6, which tells me the public is high on the Lakers, but the public is not. You do not want to ride a wave with the public more times than not.
Yeah, man.
So that's why I sat it out. We should be able to win. As far as betting, I'm not. I stayed away, because there's always. If there's one thing I could end it with, is when it comes to betting, don't force it. Don't think that you have to make a play on this such date. There will always be another day to make an even better. There will be an even better game. That's
Yeah,
what
man.
happens all the time.
Oh yeah. All right, man.
So
Hey, good shit, bro. Hey, appreciate it, man. Damn. I could just put this in its own episode, man. We're gonna have to go to
eh,
Vegas and do an episode live over there and shit.
yeah, I'm telling you this. When it comes to this, it's could really do a sport betting 101.
Yeah.
It's a complex, just like with the stock with the stocks and stuff like that
Yeah.
with the cryptocurrency.
It's
You
fucking
gotta.
complicated, bro. Yeah, because if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, bro, you
Mm,
lose money like that,
oh
bro.
yeah, there.
Shit. Especially
Yeah,
with crypto, man. Because like this morning, I think I was down like 40%. So I was down like $700, and then
yeah,
it went back to like 10% down, and then it went to like 45, and then it went down to like 20. So, and that's throughout the day, man. Imagine people putting in like their life savings, people putting in like
yeah,
20 grand, and then all of a sudden you're like at 8. You're like, shit, I just
yeah,
lost 12 grand, So hey man, but good shit, man. We're fucking getting killed right now. Shit, 12-4. Curry's going
yeah.
off, bro.
Yeah, they, like I said, hopefully I mean they have the pieces that should the to limit. He's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, yeah,
Curry's gonna get his points, but they gotta make somebody else beat him. If it's Anthony Wiggins, so be it. But they better reserve. They better. We'll see. We'll see what happens right there. It's the first quarter right there. So
yeah. We still got a lot of game left.
it. Well, yeah. Then I could, like I said, I could go on and on and on with that right there. But
Come on, see the
with the in play betting right there options,
nombre. What's
you
it
know.
called? It gets so complicated because fucking Memphis just won. So whoever loses here goes against Memphis. So even if that's the one advantage we have at least is that if we lose, we kind of get like a second chance. So we go against Memphis and stuff because Memphis and Spurs, whoever loses there just goes home. So now the Spurs
Mm-hmm.
go home, but hey, good shit, man. Good shit. Appreciate you coming
All
on,
right.
man.
Thanks.
We're
This is my.
definitely we're gonna have to definitely get you on here with my other buddy Deja because he was really excited. He was gonna ask you like so many questions, but our schedules wouldn't
Oh,
plan
for
out.
sure.
But
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, you could ask me. Like I said, we'll plan it out. We'll have to. This is my first time ever doing
yeah.
doing this podcast stuff like that. I sometimes might bounce around different,
Oh no, you're
you
good, bro.
know.
That's the beauty
But
of a podcast, man. That you can talk and talk, man. Because and that's why we like doing it. Because you get like so enthusiastic about it. You just start going off, and then next thing you know, you're like, all right, good shit, man, good shit. You're like, yeah, yeah. So appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much
yeah, thanks for having me.
yeah, man. What's it called? So this episode, once I finish recording, I'll send it to him, and then he'll edit it, and then Monday, for sure, Monday he'll have it on there. So once it goes live, I'll let you know. I'll hit you up, to see, you can show the raza, everybody like, hey, man, my first podcast on here, and then people like you, man. We're for sure gonna have to bring you back, so we can have all three of us, no, just be like, we can do if people like it, we'll do a whole segment we'll do the whole episode on sports betting. We did the last episode we did it all on crypto because it's been hot,
Uh-huh.
so what's it called? If it gets crazy to where people want to know more, hey man, definitely have to either bring you on Zoom or have to go to Vegas and shit. Because you guys aren't wearing masks over there, are you? People, I don't see people
They
wearing. I
just
mean,
really well in certain businesses. They're it's certain businesses are reserving, like they it's up to them.